Okay, now in chapter 6, we talk about share. Now, here we are looking at the elements that will affect the share price. Okay, so announcement and any news related to your company, it will affect the share price on expected component and surprise component. Let's say expected component. Everyone, let's say in the market, everyone is distributing dividends. So this is a expected component. Your shareholders is expect that you are going to distribute dividends. But what is the surprise component? Maybe let's say everyone is only given a very little amount of dividends, but surprisingly your company performed very good, so you give a very huge amount of dividend, or you give a very few amount, or the amount is very less, okay, for your dividend. This is what we say a surprising component. Now that is the surprising component. Now in terms of expected component and surprising component, basically expected component will not affect the share price too much, okay, but the surprising component will affect the share price much more than the expected component. So this is very obvious on when you look at the share price movement. When, for example, let's say the company in, let's say KFC, okay, when the director, the CEO or CFO of KFC suddenly resign without any news before that, then this is what we say a surprise component. Now for sure, any company, if their CEO have a sudden resign without any news before that, it will affect the share price drastically. Okay, now we will go on to diversification. Now we say is the total risk in terms of the company. A share, you have a total risk. Now total risk is comprised of systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Diversifiable means that this risk can be reduced, can be spread. Non-diversifiable, your risk cannot be reduced no matter what you do, no matter how you try. The risk is always there. We say it's the systematic risk. For example, the economic crisis, this is the systematic risk in which you can't help. But diversifiable risk means that the risk maybe only affect a certain industry. So here, how to diversify your risk, or how to spread out your risk, or how to reduce your risk, we say we use portfolio. Okay, we use portfolio. Basically, portfolio we say is a group of investment. Means that you put your investment, okay, you buy not only one share. Let's say you buy 7 or 8 shares, each one in different industry. This one we say is a group of investment. Okay, now you buy the shares, you buy the portfolio, okay, by building it into additional stock, mutual fund, insurance, investment. This is what we say a diversified portfolio. Let's say you have 1 trillion, okay, 1 trillion, and now how to diversify your investment. Let's say you buy some shares, okay, you buy shares, you buy gold, you buy land, okay, you buy bond as well, you buy insurance, okay. Now this is what we say, you put it into different category. Beside that, let's say you buy some in China markets, some in Malaysia markets, some in US, okay, some in Australia. So this is what we say, you diversify. Okay, you put your money into different market, different asset. Okay, so in this case, we say you spread your risk. You spread your risk into different category. Let's say share market, worldwide share market gone. Your money in gold, in land, in bond is still there. Okay, so your risk has been diversified. Let's say all the money markets, or all the, let's say Australia having a very bad economic this year, but your risk is still safe here in the other area. So this is what we say. If you have a very good portfolio, okay, by buying additional stock in different groups, you can help to reduce the investment risk by creating a diversified portfolio. This is what we say a diversified portfolio. Now let's say this, you buy share on it. Okay, let's say you have 1 trillion and you only buy share, and you only buy in Malaysia market, and you only buy 2-3 industry share. So we say this is also a diversified portfolio, but the level of diversified is very less. but this one is well diversified. Okay, now here let's look at this. Some risks you can diversify away, some risks you can't diversify away. Now systematic risk we say is a market risk, in which this risk you cannot diversify it. It's a non-diversifiable risk. So we can use beta to measure the risk when you calculate it. Okay, we'll use beta to measure the risk. Now why you have a risk that cannot be diversified? Now, for example, the economic crisis in year 1997, in year 2007. As long as you are in the market, as long as you are in the share markets, you cannot diversify it. None of the company can really escape from it. Generally, everyone is being affected. So we say this is a risk in which you cannot diversify. Okay, then you have a risk in which can diversify. We say it's the risk that you can reduce through a portfolio. Portfolio, just now we already explained. You put your money into different category, into different market. So here you put your risk you make it into a small part. So anything happen to this one part, you still have the rest of it. So this is what we say is a portfolio that help you to diversify your risk. Now, systematic risk is a risk that impact a particular firm or a group of firm on it. For example, this risk will only affect the furniture industry. Let's say wouldn't have any problem. So you only affect a certain industry. The money that you invest in other industry will still be there. So this is what we say a diversifiable risk. Now, if you only put your money in one industry, then all your money gone. This is what we say a portfolio, or this is maybe not even a portfolio. Okay. Now here we go on. A principle of diversifications. Okay, now what's the principle of diversifications? But generally, the idea is that for systematic risk is non-diversifiable. Okay, generally, and unsystematic risk, you can diversify the risk. Okay, you can reduce the risk, or we say you can eliminate the risk. You can spread the risk by diversify your asset. Okay, now spreading an investment across. How to diversify the risk is spreading an investment. Your investment, you put it into many assets in many categories, then you will help to reduce the risk. Okay, here, diversify your risk. How to diversify your risk is not only putting all your money into different group of asset and different group of different country, different category. Basically, we have to look at the relationship between the stock that you purchase. Okay, we use a very simple example. Just focus on two stock with positive relationship and two stock with negative relationship. Now, the idea here is if you have a stock with positive relationship, then the diversification has no effect on risk. Means that although you put your money in two stock, the risk is still the same. Okay, the risk is still the same. But if you put your money in two stocks in which they have a negative relationship, it will help to diversify the risk. It will help to reduce the risk. Okay, now this is the example. A stock with positive correlated, in which just now we say when you have a positive correlated stock, there is no effect on risk. Means that your risk is still same. Okay, now what is the reason here? Look at this. When stock M increase, stock M also increase. Means that in total your risk is increasing. But here when stock M reduce the risk here, so total your risk is reducing. Okay, so if you look at this one, in total your risk is reducing. So your risk there's no effect, although you put your money into different category or different asset, but the risk is still up and down. There's no effect. Okay, does not help you to reduce your risk. But if you look at this, if you put your money into two stocks with different, or we say with negative correlated stock, means that when this stock W, the price reduce, okay, and for stock M, the price will increase. So in this case, here different, when here increase, the stock M price will reduce. So if you look at this, the difference is totally the relationship we say is totally different. So here, for stock W, when you earn 10 ringgit, stock M, maybe you have a minus of 8 ringgit. So your total effect is you have a 2. And second time, maybe stock W have a loss of 10 ringgit. Stock M maybe have a profit of 6 ringgit. So the total difference is only 4. So here, your return will be more stable. Okay. Now, if you look at the previous one, this one, okay, here when you have a loss, okay, when you have a loss, let's say a loss in stock M, when you have a loss in stock M, negative 10, stock N will also have a loss negative 10, so your total is negative 20. But when you have an earning in stock M, let's say 8 ringgit, stock M, you will also have a earning of 8 ringgit, so 16. So when you go down, it go down together. When you go up, share price go up together. So in this case, we say there's no effect on your risk. It does not help you to reduce your risk. Okay. Now then we go on here. Let's say I have two stocks that is perfectly negative correlated. Means that stock A, when they increase 10 ringgit, stock B, it will decrease by 10 ringgit. So this is no effect at all. It will reduce your risk, become zero unsystematic risk. Okay, you look at this here. Would you have eliminated all of your risk? Answer is no, because systematic risk, you cannot reduce it. This is what we say, the market risk, in which you cannot do anything to reduce it. Okay. Now, bear in mind that the total risk included systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Okay. Now, just now we calculated or we learned about standard deviation. This standard deviation is to measure total risk on it. Okay, is to measure total risk. Okay. Now, for a well-diversified portfolio, systematic risk is very small because you put your money, if you still remember, you put your money into you spread your risk into a different box here, different area. So your systematic risk, or we say your unsystematic risk, is very small. Okay. So systematic risk, how do we measure this systematic risk? Expected return on a risky asset depends on the systematic risk because your unsystematic risk is very low. So basically, how risky is your asset? We'll check only on your systematic risk. Okay, how to measure systematic risk? We use beta. Now, beta equals to 1. When your beta equals to 1, means that your company have the same risk with other company, same market risk with other company. Okay, same systematic risk with other company. When your beta is less than 1, okay, means that, let's say for example 0.8, means that your company has a less systematic risk compared to the overall market. Now, if your beta is more than 1, let's say 1.2, your company is risky than the overall market. Okay, now then we go on. Look at this. Which security have more total risk? More total risk. When we say more total risk, you will check on your standard deviation. So which one have more total risk? Answer is K. So which one will have more systematic risk? If you look at systematic risk, then you always need to refer to your beta. So which one have more systematic risk? Answer is C. So in total, which one is a risky security? Now I would say it's C because of systematic risk, you cannot reduce it, in which means that your beta 1.25, you cannot reduce it. But standard deviations, although you have a stock K have a very high standard deviation, but this one, they have a lower beta, means that their systematic risk is higher. The total risk is high, but you can reduce it through a well-diversified portfolio. Okay, now then we go on to the next topic later on.